Sign here, darling, he says. The pen feels wrong in my hand. Too heavy, gold-plated, engraved with the Pemberton crest, a lion clutching an hourglass. Orson once told me his grandfather used this pen to build their empire. I am supposed to feel honored. Instead, my fingers ache around the weight. Orson, I say. Just a formality, he says. His smile is bright and immaculate, the version reserved for investors. It never reaches his eyes. My father insisted, you understand. I don't. The prenuptial agreement sits on the marble altar between the unity candle and my grandmother's Bible. 23 pages. Crisp, waiting. I have had minutes, maybe less. Behind us, 200 guests breathe in unison. The air presses warm against my bare shoulders. The quartet has gone silent. Even the quiet feels choreographed. When did you? I began last week, he says. The attorneys finished Thursday. He straightens his boutonniere, a white rose that does not need fixing. He needs something to control. I meant to tell you, but you were buried in the seating chart. A lie. I finished that weeks ago. This is our ceremony, I say, and we're starting our marriage properly, legally sound. His palm settles at the small of my back. Gentle, guiding, a correction disguised as affection. Everyone's waiting, Noel. Everyone. His mother sits in the front row, diamonds tight around her throat, catching light like a warning. His father checks his watch with calm efficiency. 3 rows back, my parents sit straight and careful. Visitors in a building that carries the Pemberton name. Mine is printed on the program. The terms are standard, Orson says quietly. Asset protection, clean separation. You keep what's yours. I keep what's mine. I don't have anything, I say. Exactly, he says warmly, like reassurance. So nothing changes for you. The pen shifts in my grip. 3 months ago, I rescued a failing segment of his family's Southeast Asia portfolio. 80-hour weeks, shell companies untangled, $17 million recovered. Orson presented the turnaround to the board as his victory. Standing ovation. He thanked his team. He never said my name. I thought we were partners, I say. We are. He kisses my temple, soft, practiced. That's why this is paperwork. Meaningless unless something goes wrong, which it won't. His fingers tighten a fraction. Because we love each other. Do we? The thought lands cold despite the heat. My eyes drop to the contract. Dense clauses, arbitration requirements, identity restrictions. I do not have time to understand. My name waits at the bottom of page 23. The pen hovers. My fingers tighten until the metal bites into my skin. A thin tremor runs up my wrist. I could put it down. The image flashes. The quartet frozen. Whispers rippling. Orson's smile sharpening. His voice turning precise. Controlled. Lawyers stepping forward. The ceremony collapsing into spectacle. For a heartbeat, hope swells. I almost lower the pen. Almost. Then a realization slips in, quiet and exact. I am not standing beside him. I am being positioned. His thumb presses lightly into my back. Forward. I sign. Blue ink curves into my name. Permanent. Witnessed. The officiant exhales. Music returns. Applause ripples through the room. Relief more than joy. Orson's smile widens. Victorious. See, he says softly. Easy. An assistant steps forward for the documents. Attention shifts. Chairs creak. People relax. In that pocket of distraction, I step aside. 1 pace. 2. My phone waits in the fold of my bouquet ribbon. I shield the screen with my palm and tap 1 contact. Jackie? The line rings once, twice. She answers in a whisper. Noel? Is it still open? I ask quietly. My voice is steady. That surprises me. A brief pause. I hear paper shuffle on her end. The position is, Jackie says. I'll call you later, I say. I'll be here. I end the call. 3 seconds. No one notices. I slip the phone back and return to position. Orson's hand finds my waist as if I never moved. Perfect groom. Perfect moment. The ceremony finishes in fragments. Vows. Rings. Applause. I twist the ring. It rotates completely around my finger. His grandmother's heirloom. Never resized. Never made to fit me. You may kiss the bride, the officiant says. He does. The crowd approves. We walk the aisle smiling. At the reception, congratulations blur together. Executives shake Orson's hand and nod politely at me. She helps me, he says when someone asks what I do. My brilliant wife. Brilliant. Undefined. Later, when the noise fades to a background hum, my mind returns to the altar. The pen, the ink, the pause where I almost refused, and the call. I signed. That part is done. But something shifted in that silence before the ink dried. A line I felt more than saw. He positioned me. I responded. And for the first time tonight, I am not thinking about what I gave up. I am thinking about what I just set in motion. The honeymoon suite is silent except for the laptop. The honeymoon does not officially start until Monday. This weekend at the estate is supposed to be quiet. Blue light spills across my hands, bleaching the gold from my wedding ring. In the reflection, I do not look like a bride. I look like an auditor. The Hutchinson model fills the screen. The board votes in 6 hours. One last sweep before morning. I scroll to column F. Debt coverage reads 1.1. My stomach tightens. That number kills deals. Any lender sees it and walks. I trace the formula chain slowly, cell by cell, until the fault surfaces. A single misplaced reference. It drags the projection down. One correction. I press enter. The ratio recalculates. 1.8. Fundable. Stable. The model settles into something investors will sign without hesitation. For a moment, I consider closing the lid, letting the mistake stand, letting Orson walk into the boardroom, carrying his own weight. But if this deal collapses, it takes my leverage with it. I save the file. Noel? His voice is thick with sleep. My hands freeze over the keyboard. Orson stands in the doorway, robe loose, eyes adjusting to the light. "What are you doing?" he says. "Couldn't sleep," I say. The lie comes out steady, just adrenaline. He crosses the room and rests his hands on my shoulders, warm, familiar. He does not look at the screen. He does not need to. He leans down and kisses my forehead. "You worry too much," he says softly. "The Hutchinson deal is handled. I've got it under control." The irony sits heavy between us. "Come back to bed," he says. I close the laptop. My fingerprints bloom faintly on the metal, then fade. He is asleep again within minutes. I stare at the ceiling until morning finds us. Morning air drifts across the terrace. Orson stands at the head of the table, phone on speaker, voice smooth and certain. "The coverage ratio supports growth," he tells the board. "I did a final sweep last night. It's clean." A few approving murmurs ripple through the call. My phone vibrates in my lap. A text from Helen. "Saw you were in the file at midnight. Coverage ratio looks solid now. Nice catch." I step to the glass railing. Steam curls from my coffee, fogging the surface. I press my palm flat against the cold until the chill sharpens my breath. Then I wipe the glass clear. He speaks. The board agrees. The deal moves forward. My work. His voice. Something settles inside me with quiet precision. He runs on what I build. And now I know exactly when to stop supplying it. The house is quiet in the deliberate way expensive homes are. Orson is at the gym. I have 40 minutes. I wake the office workstation and pull up the Pemberton file server. Hutchinson opens like a ledger of small betrayals. Metadata first. Last edit, Friday at 11:47 p.m. Author N. Oakley. Board version, Saturday at 9:02 a.m. Author O. Pemberton. There it is. No interpretation required. The timeline tells the story cleanly. I screenshot the revision trail, timestamps, authorship file path, and drop each image into a hidden folder labeled documentation. Keys scrape the front door. Too early. I click out of the server. Clear the browser history. The cursor shakes. One wrong move and the timeline stays visible. The office light shifts. Orson stands in the doorway, gym bag slung over his shoulder. "Working?" he says. "Organizing files," I say. My voice holds. He steps closer. The screen shows a folder of engagement photos. Tuscany sunlight, vineyard rose, both of us laughing at something outside the frame. For a moment we look uncomplicated. He kisses the top of my head. "Don't work too hard, darling," he says. The front door closes behind him a minute later. I exhale. Dinner is quiet, polished, crystal, silver, the soft ritual of normalcy. Orson swirls wine in his glass, thoughtful. "The revisions I made to Hutchinson really tighten the risk," he says. Casual, certain. The board liked the coverage adjustment. I meet his eyes. "I thought I handled that ratio in the draft," I say. He does not blink. "We worked on it together, Noel," he says. "Don't rewrite history." "I'm not." "You are." His hand closes over mine, warm, steady. Wedding stress, he says evenly. It's understandable. Let me handle the executive side. The touch reads reassuring to anyone watching. It lands like restraint. Later in the kitchen, I test the edges. Remember when you told the board Helen preferred the conservative approach? I ask. He nods instantly. Of course, he says. She did. He never said it. I offered the memory. He accepts it without friction because it fits the version of events where he leads and I assist. His confidence is a script, smooth enough to pass for truth. The next morning, he brings coffee into the office. I should have warned you about the prenup, he says. Forgive me? The timing is precise. Gentle regret, delivered before accusation exists. For a second, doubt flickers. After he leaves, I reopen the logs. Friday at 11:47 p.m. Author, N. Oakley. The record does not negotiate. I still need the original Hutchinson draft, the version before my corrections. It lives on the restricted company server. I connect to the VPN. Route through the office network. My old admin credentials still authenticate. Oversight. The file appears. 47 megabytes. The progress bar inches forward. If the system flags remote admin access, the alert goes straight to his phone. 88%. 95. Complete. The file settles into the documentation folder like sealed evidence. I open a personal email. To Jackie Hart. Subject, documentation. 6 attachments, timestamps, logs, drafts, line up beneath the message. I press send. The office hums softly. Outside, traffic moves without interest in private wars. His confidence is a script. The record does not negotiate. Truth waits. The coffee shop hums with afternoon noise. Jackie sits across from me, arms crossed, expression unreadable. Why now, she asks. I slide my phone across the table. The email thread fills the screen. Timestamps, file names, metadata logs stacked in clean rows. Jackie scrolls. Her jaw tightens. The whole time? She asks. Yes, I say. She sets the phone down with care. It's worse than you know, she says quietly. He's filing patents, your algorithms, under Pemberton Group. My breath catches. That's fraud. Intellectual property theft. She leans back. And with their legal team, proving authorship becomes a war of attrition. The espresso machine hisses. Someone laughs at the counter. I thought if I was good enough, he'd see me. The words slip out before I can steady them. Jackie leans in. He does see you, she says. That's why he's burying it under his name. No one speaks for a moment. I reach for my coffee. The cup is empty. I don't remember finishing it. An IP attorney can help, Jackie says, but legal battles with the Pembertons, years of motions, discovery, depositions, they'll stall until the work is old news. Steam curls from her cup and disappears. What if we skip legal? I ask. Her eyes narrow. Meaning, you still have contacts at competing firms. Jackie hesitates. Her fingers tap the table once, twice. If this blows up my reputation. I'm not asking you to leak anything, I say. Just make an introduction. She studies me. The cafe noise fades into a dull hum. You're different, she says. I have to be. She holds my gaze another second, weighing cost against outcome. Then she tilts her head slightly. Helen texted you, didn't she? Jackie asks. I nod. She called me yesterday, Jackie says. Asked if I was still in touch with you. Jackie pauses. She started at Pemberton as a secretary 30 years ago, worked her way to the board. She's watching to see if you'll fight. Jackie reaches into her bag and slides a business card across the table. Heavy paper, clean edges. Investor meeting next week, she says. Alan Wilson, former colleague, he owes me. My fingers close around the card. The edge presses into my skin, solid. For the first time since the altar, the pressure in my chest shifts. I stand. The chair scrapes softly. Noelle, Jackie says. I stop. I don't turn. Once you start this, she says, you don't go back, even if you want to. My throat tightens. A memory flickers, how easy it once felt to believe in partnership. I know, I say. Outside, cold air hits my face. Traffic moves, conversations pass, nothing looks different. I walk half a block before I check the card. Alan Wilson, venture capital, a phone number. Isolation was his leverage. I slide the card into my wallet and keep walking. The kitchen smells like coffee. Morning light cuts across the marble. You seem better, Orson says. I pour his cup, steady hands. I've been thinking about partnership, I say. He beams, kisses me. I knew you'd come around, he says. For a second, the familiarity lands exactly where it always has, warm, practiced, almost convincing. I let it sit there. I don't reach for it. His mouth lingers like a seal on an agreement. He doesn't notice I didn't drink from my own cup. By late afternoon, the investor mixer hums with polished voices and quiet calculations. His hand rests at my waist while he talks numbers. My wife's support means everything, he tells a venture partner. I smile on cue. His fingers tighten briefly. Not hard, just enough to steer. Someone asks what I do. Orson answers first. She keeps me grounded, he says. The partner's eyes flick back to me, waiting, an opening. I smile instead. Let the answer stand. The partner nods as if that explains everything. That evening, the laptop glows between us at the dining table. The investor meeting is high stakes, Orson says. Very technical. I think it's better if I handle it solo. I don't hesitate. Whatever you think is best, I say. The tension leaves his shoulders. Relief. Clean and visible. He kisses my forehead. This is why we work, he says. His lips are warm. Familiar. My body remembers the comfort before my mind does. I close the laptop. Later, when the apartment is quiet, I stand at the window with the phone pressed to my ear. The city stretches below, grids of light, late offices still awake. Jackie says you built the Pemberton models, Alan Wilson says. I did, I say. I'd like to see you prove it. He does not sound impressed. He sounds cautious, as if he is deciding whether I am a risk or an asset. Silence fills the line. I can hear my pulse in my ear. We'll be at the meeting, he continues. I'll ask about Bayesian weighting in the Q3 volatility model. Can you handle it? My grip tightens on the phone. Yes, I say. The word leaves before doubt can catch it. If you can't, or if this turns into marital drama, Jackie's credibility burns. And mine. He pauses. Understood? The word sticks for half a second before it comes out. Understood, I say. The line clicks dead. I stay at the window. My reflection looks calm. My heartbeat is not. Somewhere above me, a plane crosses the skyline, steady, committed to its path. No hovering, no retreat. I slip the phone into my pocket. Tomorrow, he walks into that room believing the story still belongs to him. Tonight, I let him keep believing it. I walk in knowing exactly where it breaks. The air feels thin. I breathe anyway. 3 years earlier, the conference room smelled like leather and ambition. I was presenting the Singapore infrastructure analysis. 6 weeks of work distilled into 12 slides. Orson Pemberton sat 3 seats down, dark suit, confident posture. He asked the smartest question in the room. Your risk model assumes political stability, he says. What's your hedge if the coalition fractures? I do not hesitate. Contingent convertibles tied to governance metrics, I say. If stability drops below threshold, debt restructures automatically. He smiles, not the investor smile, something warmer. After the meeting, he waits by the elevator. That was brilliant, he says. I don't deflect, I say. I noticed. He hands me his card, heavy paper, his name embossed in serif font. Coffee? He asks. I look up. He is watching me like I am the only person in the building. Tomorrow, I say. That coffee becomes dinner. Dinner becomes weekends. Within 3 months, I am working directly on his deals. He introduces me to his family as the sharpest mind at the firm. His father shakes my hand. Orson needs someone who can keep up, he says. I think I have. 18 months later, the Meridian deal teaches me what keeping up actually means. 3 months of work, my acquisition strategy, my models, my framework. The board meeting is scheduled for 2 p.m. At noon, Orson stops by my desk. Small change, he says. I'm presenting today. My stomach drops. I've been preparing for weeks, I say. And your work is excellent, he says evenly. That's why I can present it confidently. He squeezes my shoulder. Junior analysts build, senior partners present. You'll get there. I have an MBA from Wharton. And I have board relationships you're still developing. His voice stays gentle. Reasonable. Trust me, he says. He walks into that meeting with my deck. He comes out with a promotion. That night, over dinner, he reaches across the table. The board loved the Meridian strategy, he says. Our work is really clicking. Our work. I pull my hand back. I built that model, I say. We're a team, he replies. Don't diminish what we're building together. The words I want to say, evidence, timestamps, my name in the metadata, stay trapped in my throat. He has already moved on. Vacation plans, restaurant reservations, his voice warm and easy. I tell myself it is politics, that my turn will come. I tell myself that through the engagement party where he toasts our partnership, through the bridal shower where his mother asks what I will do after the wedding, career-wise, as if marriage is a resignation letter. I keep building. I keep proving myself. 6 weeks before the wedding, the vice president of strategy position opens. I have been doing the work for a year. I apply within an hour. Orson finds me in my office that evening. We need to talk about the VP role, he says. Hope flares. I think I'm ready, I say. You are. Absolutely. He sits on the edge of my desk. But the optics are complicated. We're engaged. If I push for your promotion, it looks like favoritism. So I'm being punished for our relationship, I say. You're being protected. His tone stays calm. If you get promoted now, people will say you slept your way up. His hand finds mine. I won't let that happen to you. My throat tightens. Who did they hire? I ask. Trevor, he says. Trevor. 2 years out of undergrad. He doesn't have my experience. He has distance from me. That matters. Orson pulls me close. 1 more year, he says. Then no one can question it. I'm thinking long-term, Noel, for both of us. He kisses my forehead. Leaves me standing there. Trevor's LinkedIn updates within the hour. Vice President of Strategy, Pemberton Group. The wedding is 6 weeks away. Invitations sent, deposits paid, his family already calling me future Mrs. Pemberton, as if my own name is provisional. I should have canceled. I draft the email to the wedding planner 3 times. The cursor hovers over send. Each time I hear his voice, I'm thinking long-term, for both of us. Each time, I choose to believe the future will be different from the present. The pattern is there. I am not ready to see it, until the altar, standing there with the prenup in front of me, his hand guiding mine toward the signature line. Everything crystallizes. Build, erase, reassure, repeat. Marriage will not change the pattern. It will lock it in place. So I sign. And then I make a call. The conference room glass reflects a version of me that looks calm. Orson connects his laptop to the display. Investors lean forward. Board members sit with practiced neutrality. Helen Kramer's gaze is steady. I sit 3 seats down, close enough to be included, far enough to be dismissed. Our predictive algorithm integrates 15 market variables, Orson says. Smooth. Certain. We're seeing 34% yield improvement over traditional modeling. Heads nod. Pens move. Slide 12 appears. Q3 volatility modeling. Alan Wilson raises a hand. Walk us through the Bayesian weighting in the Q3 volatility framework, he says. Casual tone. Sharp eyes. Specifically how you handled regional dependency. No one speaks for a moment. Orson smiles. We use adaptive probabilistic methods to account for market fluctuations, he begins. Alan does not blink. Adaptive doesn't explain the nonlinear weighting structure, he says. The silence widens. Orson shifts. The framework is collaborative, he says. Noel handled the technical implementation. Every head turns. His eyes find mine. The familiar expectation. Fix this. I stand. The room goes quiet. I'm not sure Orson wants me speaking for his work, I say evenly. Alan folds his hands. I'd prefer to hear from whoever built it, he says. Color rises in Orson's face. The weighting is contextual, Orson says. He stops. Helen speaks without raising her voice. Noel, please. I walk to the front. My heels click twice. I do not take the remote. The Bayesian priors are calibrated by region, I say. Political instability carries the heaviest weight, 0.34. Currency volatility follows at 0.28. Regulatory friction comes in at 0.22. We stress test through 10,000 Monte Carlo simulations, I continue, across 18 months of historical clustering. No hesitation. The investors track every word. Alan nods. Confidence intervals? He asks. 95% on high-yield projections, I say. Conservative modeling. Aggressive opportunity capture. A quiet murmur moves through the table. Orson steps forward. This was a collaborative effort, he says. Helen cuts him off. Let her finish. He stops. I continue, addressing the room. Regional weights shift with incoming data. That's why the model outperforms static frameworks. The Hutchinson deal runs on this structure. Alan leans back. That answers my concerns, he says. I return to my seat. The questions resume, directed at me. How does the model handle? What's the threshold for? I answer. Orson does not. The meeting winds down. Chairs slide back, conversations restart in low tones. Orson gathers his laptop without looking at me. I do not look at him. Across the table, Helen closes her notebook and gives a small nod. Alan pauses at the door. Impressive work, Noel, he says. Thank you, I say. My assistant will reach out. He leaves. The room empties. Orson stands by the window. His jaw is tight. That was unnecessary, he says quietly. What was? I ask. Undermining me in front of investors. I answered a technical question. You made me look incompetent. You couldn't answer it. His hand flexes. I built that framework with you, he says. I zip my bag. You presented it, I say. He turns toward the glass again. We'll talk tonight, he says. I walk past him. In the elevator, my phone vibrates. How did it go? Needs done. Good. Call me tonight. The doors open. Cold air meets me outside. The city moves as if nothing happened. I step into it anyway. I don't go straight home. Jackie's office is glass and steel. 20th floor. City lights sprawl below like a grid. I'm about to step off. She is waiting when I arrive. Sit, she says. I sit. She slides a folder across the desk. Embossed logo. Meridian Capital. The folder stops in front of me. For a second, I don't touch it. This is real, Jackie says quietly. Not leverage. Not negotiation. A door. I open it. Director of Quantitative Strategy, she continues. Reporting directly to the CFO. Your models, your name, equity after year one. The offer letter is clean. Professional. Real. The salary is less than what Orson's family pays me now. Enough to live. Enough to stand on my own. Meridian is Pemberton's primary competitor, I say. I know, Jackie says. Orson will see this as a declaration of war. She does not flinch. It is, she says. I scan the terms. Start date, flexible. Benefits, comprehensive. No non-compete clause. The prenup doesn't restrict employment, Jackie says, reading my face. An attorney reviewed it, you're clear. But it restricts everything else, I say. Almost everything. She leans forward. It protects their assets, limits divorce claims, but it can't erase authorship. The work you created is still yours. The metadata proves it. The documentation, the timestamps, the quiet record of who actually built the engine. If Pemberton pushes, Jackie says, Meridian pushes back, but only if you're working for us. The calculation settles cleanly. Stay married, security, status, erasure, leave, autonomy, credit, risk. When do you need an answer, I ask. Tonight, she says. I look up. Alan Wilson called an hour ago, Jackie continues. He's investing because of what he saw today, but he wants confirmation you're joining. If you walk away, the capital walks too. Pressure. Precise. Familiar. But this time it guards an opening, not a closing. I need to go home first, I say. Jackie nods once. Get what matters, she says. Then decide. The house is dark when I arrive. Orson's car sits in the driveway. Lights are off downstairs. Waiting upstairs, I climb slowly, each step deliberate. He is in the bedroom, still in his suit. Tie loosened, sitting on the edge of the bed like a man rehearsing control. That was embarrassing. He says without looking up. For who? I ask. For both of us. His voice is calm. The edges are tight. You made it look like I don't understand my own work. You don't, I say. His jaw shifts. I built that firm with my family, he says. You've been here 3 years. I built the models you presented. We built them, he says. Automatic rewrite. I move to the closet and pull out a suitcase. Not dramatic, functional. Passport from the drawer, external drive, paper folder, essentials, evidence. What are you doing? He asks. Leaving, I say. He stands. Noel, today got tense. Investors play games. Don't let them wedge us apart. Control attempt. Narrative reset. There's nothing to wedge, I say. He pivots. I'll formalize your role, he says quickly. Vice president title, public credit, your name everywhere. We fixed this. 6 months ago, that would have sounded like victory. I have another offer, I say. He goes still. From who? He asks. Meridian Capital. The softness evaporates. You're not serious. Director of Quantitative Strategy, I say. My work. My name. That's our competitor. I know. He exhales, recalculates. Noel? Think carefully. Your reputation, our marriage, my family's support. Your family's support was never mine. You'll have nothing, he says. I'll have my work. His voice drops lower. If you walk out that door, he says evenly, I make sure this industry never takes you seriously. You'll be the woman who slept her way into Pemberton and burned it down. Clean, practiced, cold. I meet his eyes. You can try, I say. Alan Wilson knows who built those models. Helen does. The board watched you fail to answer your own framework. His hand flexes. The prenup protects assets, I continue. Not authorship. Metadata doesn't lie. Try to claim otherwise and I release documentation. Color drains from his face. You've been planning this, he says. I've been surviving it. I zip the suitcase. He does not move. I walk to the door. Noel, he says. I stop. You'll regret this. I think of the altar, the pen, the weight. I already regret staying, I say. I leave. The hotel room is small. Clean, anonymous, no marble, no curated legacy, just air. I sit on the edge of the bed and pull out my phone. A message from Mom waits. Your father and I are here if you need us. Whatever you decide. They saw it. Maybe not the details, but the pattern. I type back, I'm okay. Then I open the draft email. To Jackie Hart, subject reoffer. 2 words, I accept, I press send. Her reply lands seconds later. Welcome to Meridian. Monday answer, Monday. I set the phone down. The room is quiet. For the first time since the altar, nothing is positioning me. No script, no performance, just space. And the choice is finally mine. 6 months later, the work feels different in my hands. Not easier, not lighter, just mine. The Meridian conference room smells like coffee and dry erase markers. Whiteboards layered with equations, no mahogany, no ceremony, just function. I stand at the head of the table, 15 investors. Jackie sits to my left. The CFO tracks numbers in the margins of his printout. Our adaptive algorithm outperformed projections by 42% in the first quarter, I say. The slide behind me resolves into clean lines of data, verifiable, repeatable, authored. Regional volatility modeling proved especially effective in emerging markets, I continue. An investor raises her hand. Walk me through the Bayesian framework, she says, specifically how you handled instability weighting. I do not hesitate. Political instability carries a weight of 0.34, I say. Currency volatility follows at 0.28. We stress test using Monte Carlo simulations across 24 months of clustered data. The model recalibrates in real time as variables shift. She nods slowly. Svad, not impressed by theatrics, just clarity. The questions come fast, technical, precise, curious. I answer each one. No one interrupts, no one rephrases. No one translates my work into someone else's voice. When the presentation ends, the lead investor closes her folder. This framework doesn't just predict movement, she says. It explains it. That's rare. No one speaks for a moment. The room agrees in silence. Jackie catches my eye. A small smile. Not celebration. Confirmation. After the investors leave, the CFO steps forward and shakes my hand. Strong work, Noel, he says. Just my name. Attached to the thing I built. Back in my office, I open my laptop. One message stands out. From Helen Kramer. Subject, thought you'd want to know. Hutchinson renewal went elsewhere. The board restructured analytics leadership. Orson is no longer presenting strategy. Competence has a way of surfacing eventually. I read it once, then I closed the laptop. No triumph, no sting, just balance returning to its proper place. Through the window, the city stretches out in a grid of steady light. Same skyline, different vantage point, my phone buzzes, a text message, dinner Sunday. Your father wants the full Singapore expansion story. I'll be there, I replied. They do not ask if I'm okay anymore, they assume I am. I set the phone down and opened the next project file. Renewable infrastructure across Southeast Asia. Dense modeling, tight margins, high stakes. The kind of work that used to disappear into someone else's presentation. The spreadsheet populates projections. Numbers shift, then stabilize. I adjust regulatory friction. Watch the model recalculate. It holds. Because I built it to. My desk phone rings. Jackie? Alan Wilson's assistant called, she says. He's forming a new advisory board. He's asking for you. No one speaks for a moment. What did you tell him, I ask. That you'd want details, she says lightly. No pressure, no positioning, just space. I glance at the model. The projections remain steady. Tell him yes, I say. Done, she replies. The line clicks off. I return to the spreadsheet. The work is still demanding, the hours are still long, but every calculation, every strategy, every presentation carries my signature. Not branding, authorship. The weight I carried for 3 years is gone. What remains is sharper, cleaner. On the corner of my desk sits the Tuscany photo, vineyard rows in late sunlight. 2 people who believed partnership meant the same thing. I do not hide it. I do not center it either. It stays where it belongs, part of the foundation, not the structure. I open the next model and start building.